Maybe we should.
Wait,
Maybe we should start eating lemons before the pod.
We're like to zing every
I love that.
Maybe.
Okay, welcome back. It's our 10ep-iversary. Woo! Catherine came up with that.
Don't send us stuff like we don't.
Yeah, guys, it's fine. We don't even like gifts like that.
Yeah, we're not like that.
We're not into that. We're showing new sides of us today. Catherine got a haircut.
It's a little too short, but it's fine.
She looks like fourth member of Muna. It's awesome.
You want to send some words of affirmation in the comments, like.
Yeah.
I went tell Catherine. It looks great.
I know. And I'm wearing a scoop neck line for the first time on the pod. So
Wait.
it's really vulnerable. We have a lot going on. Okay, anyway, now to talk about stuff that's not us, even though I know that everybody wants to know so bad about how I pick my necklines out in the mornings. If you haven't heard, if you've been living under a rock, the CBA deadline has passed.
It came and it went.
And there's no agreement.
No agreement. But they were there for 12 hours.
They were physically meeting, was this the first time that they ever met?
No. They met physically, because remember, there was
at
that.
All-Star.
They met at All-Stars. There was also, when they missed the flight, who was it? It was Plum and Fee.
No, and Fee.
And Fee. They missed the flight. So
they were posting about it, and
everyone was like, I'm not laughing that hard. Anyway, so the deadline has passed for starting the season on time. They met for 12 hours.
12 hours? Like, that is a really
and did
long
not
time.
reach a deal.
They took a couple breaks.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
I mean, also, I was like, okay, the longer it's going, like, surely it's a better sign. Like, than them just, like, having an hour-long meeting being like, we're done? Or is it, like, worse that it was so long and nothing came of it still?
I think, to me, it's like, okay, well, first of all, we know that they're negotiating. It's not just, like, revenue sharing models that they're negotiating. They're also negotiating housing and all these other issues. So it's like, to me, I don't know whether to take that and be like, okay, this means that they actually sat and maybe talk through revenue share, but haven't really gotten exactly where they want to be for housing, or haven't gotten exactly where they want to be for, like, I don't know, salary caps or whatever. And then, or the core or whatever. And then, or if I'm looking at that and I'm like, okay, then they're just still really far apart. I don't know how to take that.
I feel like it's hard because if they met for 12 hours and left with a deal, you could be like, okay, clearly they talked through everything.
Right.
This was super productive. I think to your point, if they had met for an hour and parted ways, you'd be like, whoa, like they really did not see eye to eye. Like, no deal reach. If they met for an hour and reached a deal, you'd be like, okay, wow, like it really wasn't that hard. But I feel like 12 hours and still no deal is like they're really on opposite sides.
I almost think that if they went and met for like 1 hour and came out with a deal, I would have been more skeptical than if they met for 12 hours and came out with no deal.
Well, they're really making sure that I'm sure that they're making sure they have every chance off. And I think it's well, not to plug no off season, but like Fee went on no off season and spoke, and it was a pretty short episode, but I think she said something interesting on there just about how like starting Unrivaled and having these players play in Unrivaled and actually getting treated the way that they should be treated, and now they've like tasted what kind of their life as a professional athlete should be. I don't think that they want to compromise. Like Fee, especially as the
I was gonna say
president, like it's like
and the owner of Unrivaled. So I mean, I understand. Like I think that she's right. And also hearing her say that out of everyone, it's kind of like, well, of course she would say that because she's the owner of the league.
I don't think it's necessarily biased though, because like
I think it is.
They offered the W to be investors in the league, and they said no. And I feel like it's one of those things where it's like when Unrivaled grows, like the W grows. You know, like if these players get more exposure and more brand deals and things like that, that carries over into the WNBA. So like obviously like she wants to push like how Unrivaled treats their players better, but I'm also kind of like, I think they just do. You know what I mean?
I don't think that anything she's saying is necessarily false.
Right.
I just think that I would take what she was saying more seriously if it was coming from like a mid-tier player who plays in both leagues.
Yeah, right.
Like
she's gonna get like a max salary.
Yeah.
Right. Like she's gonna be making over $1 million no matter what deal they take. I think as like the owner of Unrivaled to go on a podcast and be like, the reason why we're not taking the deal that we're being offered is because of Unrivaled. To me, I don't know if. Okay, well, I don't know. Like that's she does kind of position it that way, and I'm like what I'm saying is like coming from her, I'm like of course she's saying that. Coming from a different player, I would take it a little more at face value.
I think it is probably most helpful at this point to hear from the like bench and role players because they're the ones that are most going to be affected by this deal, and it's hard because you don't usually see those players in positions of power, like leading the WNBPA, like the Players Association,
right,
and things like that. But
it's also interesting too because I feel like one thing we haven't talked about, just because there's so much to talk about and we have like a limited amount of time, is the letter that was sent to the Players Association from Brianna Stewart and Kelsey Plum that
and they said
the
they
ESPN
didn't for it to get out.
Right. Of course they didn't, but ESPN got their hands on it somehow. Who knows how they got it, but what I would give to know who sent that letter to ESPN. So I don't think like, I guess what I'm saying is like I think that right now I just don't feel like, I feel like anyone coming on a podcast and doing like an 8-minute episode being like, we're all super committed and we're all super on the same page. I feel like, and I'm talking about from the player side, it's kind of hard for me to not see that as like a pointed PR move.
in
response to the letter.
Specifically in response to the letter.
I think any public like announcement, any press like in regards to CBA is completely pointed, is completely calculated because it's all about how the public perceives it, like it's all strategic. Like they're like basically playing chess at this point.
Yeah.
I'm curious to see, to be honest, too, like just thinking about the Unrivaled model, it's like what percentage of W players played overseas this winter and like what percentage played in Unrivaled? Like how many players are still going overseas?
Well, that's actually very easy to find out because Unrivaled only has like 40-something players.
Like less than 50.
They have less than.
Like what their each salary is like, because it's
I
very
don't know
like
what that
Brianna
is.
Stewart goes and plays overseas versus like I don't know, like Lexi Hull or something like who's not making as much money.
Do you guys think?
I think that
it's gonna be delayed this season. Like
Yes.
Like by how much?
We got some insider info that
it's going to be. I think it's going to be delayed. Yeah. Honestly, I was surprised that people weren't talking more about the fact that it would be delayed earlier than this point.
Yeah.
It's not like if they got a deal on March 9th, it wouldn't have very similar impacts than if they didn't get a deal until March 11th.
Yeah.
Like,
it still takes a few weeks for them to like finalize everything.
Yeah.
Anyway, so there's gonna be a shorter season.
Yeah.
Which sucks. But how long do you think it'll be delayed for?
I feel like at this point it's gonna be a month, like 3 to 4 weeks, up to a month.
Yeah, that makes sense. There's just so much. We said this like January.
We've been saying this since the beginning of the pod.
We've been saying this for so
and they've
long.
been talking about it for so long too. Like,
I know.
remember, like Fee's exit interview? Like,
yes,
that was crazy.
That was crazy.
That's also the thing that I think I find one of the things I find most interesting about like watching this is like the level of contention and then like this switch from from like outwardly contentious and outwardly like, I don't want to say hostile because I feel like that's too extreme of a word, but super, super combative, to now like, it's clear that the negotiations are still very contentious, but the public facing conversation has tampered down so much.
Post-Sue Bird.
Right, post-Sue Bird, Rebecca Lobo conversation, when you would expect it to be the opposite. It's like it starts out a certain type of way and then maybe becomes more contentious as it takes longer and longer and longer.
Oh, for sure.
So do you think that's a result of what they feel like they've gotten from the league in these negotiations? Or do you think it's more of a calculated public move since now they're in a rev share model? Like, do you think that's a sign of trust, or do you think that's a sign that they're not speaking publicly about how they actually feel?
That's a good question. I don't know. Like, maybe trust, but maybe I'm being like really positive.
I can't tell if they feel like the offers that they're getting from the league are like a slap in the face. Like, don't
Well,
you
that's
feel
what
like
they
think?
that's what they said.
They said that.
But I can't.
Did they specifically say it's a slap in the face?
Yes,
Oh,
that
yeah,
was
they
that
did.
was and that was my issue, and what Rebecca Lobo went on the podcast. I think this was when you were
you were
you were on your hiatus.
I
Yeah.
listened to that episode.
Like they literally said a minimum salary of like over like $500,000 a year. They called it a slap in the face.
Which isn't gonna.
Which is not, and a
generate
lot of.
sympathy with the average person.
And I mean, Lucy's kind of our resident Twitter expert, but she was saying that
there's like
people were not happy with that.
People like on social media are starting to get like maybe like
You can't-
disillusioned or just kind of like that maybe isn't the route to go if you want to have public support.
Yeah.
Right.
Because like people can't relate to like, oh no, we're only making $200,000 a year.
Yeah, right.
Like
Yeah,
minimum
500,000,
salary, yeah.
But I think
Minimum
it's also
salary,
goes back to
$200,000.
our conversation in like sexism in women's sports, where it's like, I mean, I agree with you, like how like you'll be fine with $500,000, but it's like the principle of the idea where it's like, well, if these male athletes if their minimum salary is like $1 million, like
But the difference now is that in a rev share model, the league is not necessarily dictating this. Like, yes, they're setting a salary cap, but in a rev share model, it doesn't matter. You're working more in like percentages than you are like numbers.
Right.
So when it comes to like the NBA, because the NBA generates so much more revenue than the W,
which it does.
they're going to make more money because the percentages are like the pie is just bigger. So that's what I also think people were, and like I'm not, at the time people weren't necessarily talking as specifically about rev share as like maybe we are now, but it's like what they're asking for is a greater percentage of rev share, and if the percentage they're getting is like,
it's all within the equivalent of like how much they make.
Right.
And how much
So,
the
like-
league- how much money the league and attention it draws.
right.
Which will always, not always, but at this point is lesser than the NBA.
And so if what they're saying is like, what they should be saying is like, the men get this percentage of league revenue, not
Their
500 grand average
it's just like
salary
the
is a
wording.
slap in the
Yeah, I think
face.
Because the person, like, the Twitter user is not going to be like, let's think about this. Like,
Right.
Well, it's way
even though
better
they-
PR to just like, don't like make them think about, like you said,
Don't make them think about the numbers,
Yeah.
because like
Nobody
for
relates to
me,
that.
Yeah.
I'm not like, no one's gonna feel bad for
that's-
you
yeah,
if that's how you're going about
I mean,
it.
clearly they have pivoted like that away from that sort of language too.
Right. So
We'll see.
we'll see what
Oh my
happens.
god, every single episode. We'll see.
I mean, do you guys think that there will be a deal by the end of the week?
By next ep, will there be a deal?
Yeah, true.
Emergency. If there is a deal called emergency episode, we're gonna break it down.
Because we know you all want to hear from us so bad.
Yeah, on CBA again.
Everybody wants to know what we
it's
have to
just
say.
CBA pod. Maybe.
I
don't know.
hope so.
I keep being like, I thought like maybe they would have a deal at the end of the 12 hours, and then they didn't. And so I'm like, okay. But both sides the WNBA PA executive director said there was a lot of conversation going in the right direction. Both of these are super big, and then Kathy was like, we're working hard and still have work to do. So it's like, what? Yeah, like, okay, what does that mean?
Well, part of what we know that it means is that they can't publicly look like they're beefing because if they do, nobody wants to invest in the league.
Right, exactly.
And the players actually have like skin in that game now because they will benefit from investment into the league.
It's in nobody's best interest for them to be like necessarily.
We hate each other.
Yeah, that was horrible.
They can both
Right.
agree on that.
Right.
Unfortunately, because oh god.
Okay, so as we stand right now,
I'll say yes. I'll go
you're
yes.
gonna go yes?
I'll go yes.
You're gonna be positive?
By next
next Tuesday. By next Wednesday.
Yeah.
I have no idea. I genuinely can't even make a prediction. I have no idea.
And I don't even know what terms they're gonna reach. Like at this point, like we have no idea. They're not even like the last proposal that was leaked with specific numbers was the league offering 25% and like after the Players Association had offered 27.5%, and that was when they had lowered their numbers from like 30%.
So I can actually read the last known proposal from Front Office Sports. So the WNBA's, this is, from Front Office Sports, the WNBA's last known proposal included a salary cap of $5.75 million and a 70% share of net revenue. According to sources familiar with negotiations, this share amounted to less than 15% of gross revenue. The union's last known proposal was seeking a 26% share of the league's gross revenue over the life of the deal, which sources have previously said was an 8-year term with an opt-out after 7.
That's crazy, because I feel like the last we heard was that they wanted 27.5, so they dropped it another 1.5%.
Yeah,
players.
Sounds like it.
Wow. But it's what you've been saying, where it's like
it's all about gross or net.
You want the gross, like, because you want to be able to have something that's gonna grow, like with you.
Well, and I think net can grow. It's just that the league has a little more. It gives the league a little bit more of a leg up because they can dictate how much of they can dictate basically like
the league operations.
Right. And I don't necessarily, what we don't know is how much what they decide is league operations. What they decide is league operations right now, I am operating under the assumption that will remain league operations for the life of the deal. So it's not like they can just say like, oh, like this expense, we're deciding that's league operations now. Like I'm operating under the
expenses grow as the league grows.
But
not necessarily what it is, but the amount.
But that's what I'm saying is like if there's a ton of money coming in, I don't necessarily think that they can decide that like league operations all of a sudden cost like $200 million more. Yeah. So like I don't necessarily think that's the case. I think league operations stays pretty fixed. It's not, I mean, if like it suddenly becomes like $1 million more expensive to book a charter plane, then maybe league operations changes, but, and I'm not saying that makes it a better deal for the players because obviously the gross deal is the best deal for the players. What I'm saying is like, if it were up to, if I were looking at this and they're saying that this is 15% of gross revenue, at this point, and I said this, I guess 2 episodes ago, or 1 episode ago, I would take a smaller chunk of gross revenue than a bigger chunk of net. Like, if I'm looking at this and they're like, okay, this amounts to 15% gross revenue, at this point, just to get the season going, I would take the 26% share of the gross revenue. I'd be like, we'll take a 20% share of the gross revenue. We just want the gross revenue.
Yeah. Okay.
That's how I would negotiate this.
Yeah.
I'll take a smaller chunk of gross to get gross over a larger chunk of net. I want a smaller piece of a bigger pie. Yeah.
With potential
Yeah, because then you can, if you can get them to agree to gross, then you can opt out. And no matter how much, if a ton of money is coming in, you're still probably going to get a lot.
Yeah.
And so then you can negotiate on those terms, a bigger chunk. That's just how I'm thinking about this. I totally think that if the players can get the league to agree to a 26% gross share, that they 100% should.
Yeah.
But, I mean, is it worth, what they have to ask themselves now is like, how much money are they going to lose by not having potentially a month of games?
Yeah. But over the lifetime of like your 8-year deal, it's still probably more worth it to wait.
I mean, it depends on how long the season doesn't go.
How long?
How long it takes.
But don't you think that like, let's say a year out of the 8-year span is, and then at the end of it getting like.
Assuming
year
people
first.
are still going to invest after you went on strike to not, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, that's fair.
because if people
But
are
will
like,
people
these
be
are,
even more anticipated for like the next season.
well, people will definitely want to watch
Yeah,
because
I don't
it'll
think-
be great
Well, then if
TV.
people are watching, then people will invest. You know what I mean?
If they, I mean, but this is what they're talking about right now. It's like, that's the gamble.
Yeah, it's like
The gamble is,
If
people, if we don't jump on this momentum right
Yeah,
now,
yes.
are we going in this like attention economy? Will we be able to stay in people's minds
But it's
enough for
both
them to
sides of
watch?
the momentum where it's like.
Yeah, this
we
is
have
what
the
both of
momentum
them are
to
saying.
Have like an amazing season,
This is what
like,
both of sides are
but
saying.
Also, like we have the momentum to go on strike, but it's like either answer is like you lose something from playing and taking like
Yeah.
a worse deal, or from like striking and then people like you said in the attention economy stop watching.
Right. It's
So-
like there's just so much momentum.
Yeah.
And there are people actively like waiting for them to start playing so that they can put their money in.
Right.
Like, so it's just like, I don't think that there's like a great answer either way. But I really hesitate to say like, this is the right move or this is the right move, because I don't necessarily think at this point, with them actively cutting into the season, I don't think that there's necessarily a right move. I think the right move, well, I say what I think the right move is, which is to take like a smaller gross cut. Just to get the league to, if the league is going to play hardball like this, then what other option do you have? If you
They're
want-
not
if you-
folding.
No,
They're
not at all.
How much they're claiming, like, of net revenue, like exactly. Like I know that they're saying that they get 30% then is like league operations, but I wish I knew like the exact number and like what like their anticipated revenue that they're expecting for this year is, and then
Right.
how much of it.
And this is also interesting because I think the last time we talked about this, we were operating under the assumption with the information that was being withheld from the Players Association by the league.
Right, they wouldn't show.
And then
They
the
wouldn't
letter,
show that they met, like they wouldn't show the previous bank statements, because remember how they finally matched it, like this last year was.
Yeah.
yeah, like they knew they matched, they just didn't know how much. But what the letter to me, what made the letter from Brianna Stewart and Plum so interesting to me that they sent to their reps at the Players Association was the phrasing of that letter made it seem like, and obviously we don't know, made it seem like the Players Association, they felt as if the Players Association wasn't being upfront about the information that they had from the league.
Yeah.
That's what made that letter so interesting to me.
I wonder what the incentive is to withhold that, like from your players. Yeah.
I mean, it puts them in it gives them more control over how the negotiations proceed.
Without the players like input.
But like,
Or,
does
like,
the
fully-
Players Association, is it that they like want the season to start too? Like, what is in it for the Players
Oh.
Association besides, like, because they're supposed to be there for the players. you know?
Right, I don't know. I mean,
Yeah.
what we don't know is how much the Players Association benefits from how the players deal. Okay, wait, how do I say this? What we don't know is, and what could be a possibility, I don't know, is that their salaries increase based on how much the players collect. So like if, for example, you take, like how most unions work is you take a percentage of your paycheck and it goes to union payments. Right. So if that's the way that they get paid, then it is a part of their incentive for the players to earn more money. Which, as it should be their incentive. That's what they're there to do. Like, but
then why withhold? Because wouldn't necessarily the most money be in the gross model?
But I don't. What I think people are not, strikes are very messy, and the possibility it is very, very possible that a very large percentage of the players, especially your like middle income WNBA, middle earner WNBA players, or like even your first year contract people don't want to strike at all.
Yeah. And also, a salary is better than no salary. If not
Yes.
leading the Players Association.
Right. So, and I mean, so I don't know. If the majority of the league, because your top earners, if they can afford to not play because they make so much through Unrivaled or through like other organizations,
Instagram,
whatever, or, and then your middle income players can't afford to not play, then they're probably, I mean, and I'm not saying, I don't necessarily think that, like, look, the people who are head of the exec committee, like NECA and Alicia Clark and Stewie and Plum and Fee, like, these are all people who are highly, highly invested. I truly believe that they are highly invested in the well-being of every single person that they represent. I really do believe that. And also, like, they can afford to take risks that other players can't take. Or don't, or maybe feel as if they cannot take. I don't know.
think the lines are so blurred. Like when
Yeah.
you're like the vice president and the president, like between, like you said, truly having the best interest of everybody, but like not being able to negotiate without your own experiences as
Right.
a player. You know, it's just hard to separate.
Yeah.
So
So that's where we stand.
so gives it 1 week, and if not, you know what happens. Nebraska hat.
Yeah, Nebraska hat. I should be wearing it now because so many of our takes from last week were
Terrible.
so bad.
So bad.
I know. So we're gonna do like a little recap, just like a quick recap of what happened last week,
Right.
because it was crazy.
It was crazy, and I didn't think it was gonna be that crazy. But it's March. It's March.
Anything can happen.
Literally March. I don't know what your biggest. I'm gonna put my biggest shocker as Texas winning the SEC.
Okay.
Because last week I was just talking about the final game being Vandy and South Carolina as if that was like 100% guaranteed. I was like, yeah, when it's like Vanderbilt.
We were all talking about Vanderbilt like that.
It's Vanderbilt.
And then literally the hour, like it was like an hour after we stopped
Yeah.
taping.
We watched the dominoes fall like so fast.
Yes.
Like,
Oh my
it was
God.
crazy.
Shea Ralph got ejected.
Ejected.
Yes.
I'm not gonna say what she said that got her ejected, but you can find it
You can
online.
find it online.
People
She was heated.
were lip reading.
Yeah.
Lip read.
Yeah,
Get
lip
the
reading.
readers on that one.
Mhm.
That was a crazy game because they just were doing nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was.
Michaela Blakes could
Michaela
not get it going.
could
Although
not.
she did end with 18 points.
Yeah, but the
But
first half
for
1 point.
her, yeah.
1 point.
1 point. I was watching. I was like, let me go check the box score real quick. It was like 0, and I was like, and then she went to the line. She missed the first free throw, and I was like, you're still
Oh,
0.
God.
I'm not helping.
I was
No.
like, oh no. So
That's a game that's gonna stick with her for a long time. I
right.
think.
Well, so then do you think like
Does that go
in
into the tournament?
Yeah, in the tournament, do you think they're
I think-
locked in?
I think that she's gonna. I would be so afraid
Yeah.
to play
I was
her
gonna
after
say,
that.
I like this as like kind of like her origin story.
Yeah,
Like,
villain
Vanderbilt's
origin story.
It's like, they can make a run from this.
Yeah, I'm like so afraid of her now.
I'm kind of afraid of South Carolina. Like Dawn
Yes.
Staley does not like a beat down.
Yeah.
Like,
I
you
know.
should be so scared.
She said
I
in
know.
the post game, she was like, last time this happened, we won the national championship. I was like, oh.
Well, actually, last time it happened, they lost the
They
national
lost?
championship. I'm just saying, like,
Oh.
when they-
Oh.
their last,
Their last
Oh,
beat down
oh,
was
right,
against
right, right,
UConn.
right. Their last beatdown was, yeah.
I guess
But
she's
last
saying
time
like
they lost the start.
the
SEC
conference
championship.
championship.
They won the national championship. But
Oh, I think it's better that it happened
Now.
definitely.
Yeah.
than getting stuck.
And like on like the biggest stage before
Yeah.
the biggest stage.
It's there's
Mm.
time to course correct. I think.
Yeah.
definitely. And she will.
I think they're gonna course correct. I'm really afraid of them. I think I might call it now though. I don't know. They don't look as invincible this season as they
South
have.
Carolina?
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
Like
I agree.
and I also think like last time this happened, like Dawn is saying that they lost the conference championship and then went on to that was like a total fluke.
Yeah.
Like it just
Yeah.
didn't even. This is like a different kind of loss.
How far do you see them going?
Oh, they're definitely gonna be in the Final Four.
I was gonna say.
Definitely Final Four. It's gonna be like.
Ugh, now I feel like they're not gonna be like just after our predictions like last week. Like
Wait, do you know anything?
I know.
No.
No.
Okay.
Do you think they would beat UCLA if they had to meet them before the championship?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think.
UCLA is they haven't been
I-
haven't gotten that like check.
And I
Yeah,
also,
there's no loss, but
I also,
they blew out Iowa by like almost 50 points.
That was crazy.
the game that I'm looking at is UCLA against Ohio State.
Yeah. No, you're right.
And because South Carolina played Ohio State, it was a lot earlier in the season, but it was a total beatdown.
Yeah.
So
UConn.
that's what I'm using, and maybe it's a wonky barometer just because it's like
Who,
so early in the season, but that's what I'm using.
That's UCLA's one loss. They lost twice.
I think they lost twice.
So Texas was it Texas?
Texas.
Yeah, Texas and Ohio State. So you think they would lose?
No,
to
I
Texas?
don't think they lost to Ohio State. It was
lost
just
to
really
Texas.
A
close.
really close
It
margin.
was just a
Yes.
really, really close.
Just Texas.
In the Big
Yeah.
Ten
And they
tournament.
Yeah.
lost, or they won 82-75 to Ohio State.
In the
In the Big Ten tournament, they beat down. It was a beatdown against Ohio State.
right. So do you think they're?
Oh wait. That was last
Wasn't
year.
that one kind of
No. This year, okay,
Only 10 points.
they only beat Ohio State by 10
Yeah.
points.
Yeah,
South
right.
Carolina beat Ohio State by like I don't even know a
UConn
South Carolina
Blew
number.
out,
Yeah.
UConn blew out
obviously.
Ohio State. So that's kind of obviously different points in the season.
Yeah.
I think Ohio State has like more of a fire under their butt right now because it's a conference, but it's just that's kind of what that's what I'm using because I don't know how else to tell. But
You just don't think they're gonna make. But even though UCLA like they're playing for something
they are.
big, like they have all like
This is
It's
kind of
everyone's last
feels
chance.
Like this is it. a little
yeah, it's
bit.
kind of like UConn last year where they
Do
felt
or
like they
die.
were playing for like Paige, like Paige, we want her to get like
Right.
a national championship. Like there's kind of like that kind of like storyline to it.
Sorry, I'm just thinking about the Gino presser that I sent you yesterday. Just so weird.
I don't think he can be like that though.
And he gives me like a random.
I know, but
He's-
I
he's
don't
like
think
grandpa,
always
like-
goes back to Paige. Like he's so obsessed with her.
This is goat.
I don't-
Is it, like,
I don't know, well-
We
more than,
literally went. Yeah, like our motivation this year is to like win it for Paige.
No, I think he's saying to prove we
No, I
can
know,
win it
I
without
know,
Paige.
But just cause but it's just crazy. Like, cause he's like, cause Paige said we couldn't do it without her. Like, I'm just like,
haunting the
oh my.
It's like, you know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of like Jordan like making up beef for himself so that he had something to play for. It's like
Yeah.
that's what they're
Because
doing
they
at
don't
this
have
point.
anything to
They-
motivate because they're so good.
It's
Right,
bad,
it's
but
like-
also like when Gino was like, well, nobody on my bench is Paige. I'm like,
You
what?
think he's,
He's
motivated?
motivating. I think he's trying to
Yeah,
motivate
that
them
might-
to
yeah,
prove. Like I think
But
it's a
I'm just like, when
tactic.
did we start talking about Paige? Like, I guess
He's rage baiting his the rest
I
of the
think
team.
he's rage baiting the team.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I also think he is like.
No, he definitely loves Paige.
Yeah, he loves
He
Paige.
definitely loves Paige. He's also like softer in his older.
I think
years.
so too.
Oh,
He's
definitely.
definitely gotten softer.
Definitely softer. But I feel like they had that kind of like motivation. Like they weren't gonna maybe say like, oh, we like we want this, but it was kind of like the storyline of like, is Paige gonna get a national championship?
Right.
Yeah.
This time, like with UCLA, they have all their seniors or whoever like leaving.
Yeah.
Like there's no one's last chance. No one.
And it's
Like,
also
you know,
like
ability.
not just for them, it's like the program. Like
Yeah,
it's like
Yeah.
everyone home for the first time.
Yeah,
ever,
and this
you
is
know?
yeah.
Which that's all to say, like they're not gonna.
Yeah, they're right. Which again, they can't because UConn's there, but.
They are physically unable, yeah.
I don't know,
But
you
it
guys.
like
Like,
past South Carolina
okay.
or Texas.
Wow.
Yeah.
You all really think that they're more likely to? I don't know if.
I don't know anything clearly because everything I said last episode, I was just watching it crumble in front of me. I was like, oh, okay.
I don't know. I think that like.
But that's also kind of the spirit of like March. Madness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
True,
Anything
true.
can happen.
It's so true.
It's like almost better to be.
It would be
wrong, 'cause
bizarre,
that
yeah.
means you're watching a good game of
Right.
basketball. You know?
Right.
Yeah.
It's the beauty.
All right. Should we move on?
Yeah.
Yeah.
ACC.
Sorry, Sydney.
Okay, but I got. I did get it. I did get
This
it.
is my only correct prediction.
You were so good.
This I know. This was your correct.
This was.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
unfortunately.
That really hurt. I gotta be honest. Like
Yeah.
it was.
Yeah, that's.
Louisville lost because of one missed free throw and a 10-second violation trying to bring the ball up the court.
Crazy.
It's like, and this is a
In
young
the
team.
ACC
In the ACC championship, like you just can't do that. And this is a young team. I think like people like to talk about like their sophomore class. They have a really, really strong sophomore class. So assuming they don't all transfer after the season, because at this point, like you can never like assume that that's not going to happen. But I, as a longtime fan, as a hometown fan, I really hope they stay and that we can see some growth because I think there's a high ceiling for this group. Like,
Yeah.
so, yeah.
Rip.
But the real story is Duke. They started the season 6-9.
Terrible story
They
of
were
the season.
not. on
People
our
like
radar,
were really
at
losing
least.
faith. People like were
Yeah.
like, this
They
is a crazy
lost
fall off.
To Baylor,
Yeah.
West Virginia, who nobody, we'll talk about them. No one saw them coming. Except for me. I talked about
Yeah,
them.
you
You
did
did,
early
you
on.
did.
Okay. South Florida, which is a crazy loss. Don't know what happened that day.
They were just must be.
And then they lost to South Carolina, UCLA, and LSU. So it's
South
like
Florida, like those are like impressive losses, I would say.
Baylor,
at
West
the-
Virginia.
at that
I
point
think
in the season,
Baylor.
I think Baylor was
Yeah,
definitely-
at that point in the season, Baylor
was
was good. Everybody was like, "What? West Virginia?"
That one was weird. And
That was
it
weird at the
they had 5
time.
players.
Yeah, at the time it was weird, but now they're Big 12 champs. So, and then South Florida, we just don't know what's going on there. And then South Carolina, UCLA, LSU. Like, what are we even doing? Like, of course, those make
There's
sense.
no chance.
Maybe there is a chance, but maybe there's a chance
I
for
think
Duke
some of them
now.
are
LSU, there's a chance, but like South Carolina, UCLA,
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't know. I think Duke is one of those like March teams that
Yeah.
just comes alive at the end of the postseason and gives, like they haven't in the last few years they haven't made a super deep run. Like we're not seeing them in the Final Four, but they're definitely like making Elite Eights and Sweet 16s. So, I mean, I don't know. If I were UCLA, I would not want to see Duke.
No, you don't want that.
I would not want to see Duke.
It's not going to be an easy game, that's for sure.
No.
But you have to remember that UCLA has one loss.
Yeah.
And we can talk about
They had a
them.
tough schedule. They didn't have an easy schedule.
They didn't.
They had a pretty
really
tough.
didn't.
They had a pretty tough schedule.
And they're the Big Ten champs now,
Big
regular
Ten.
season and
Because we said this earlier, like they're way above the rest of the Big Ten. Like
Yeah,
Right.
it was insane. It just was in a race for second, and even the runner-up of the Big Ten was blown out by 50. So that was
so
super
horrible.
surprising. And we kind of talked about it. We kind of hit on UCLA already.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I guess.
Sorry, go ahead.
Well, I was just gonna say the only question is like, do you think they would get the number 1 seed over UConn? Which in the top 16 rankings that have come out, the 2,
Right.
UConn's been 1 for both. So it's like I don't think they're gonna switch up and put UCLA up, but it's like a
I think it's
thought
just,
exercise.
it's hard because like UCLA did have a harder schedule,
Yeah.
but it's also like UConn's just like total dominance, and then like the few games they did play with actual contenders that they just like absolutely destroyed. Like we just like
Right.
okay.
I don't know. I think I know I'm like always doubting the Big Ten like on this podcast, but like part of me is like, I don't know. I don't necessarily think like winning against like Oregon is more impressive than UConn like winning against Villanova.
Let's look at the other ones though. Oklahoma, North Carolina, Texas. They did lose to Texas by 9 points. They beat Duke, Tennessee, Ohio State.
Ohio State's good.
USC's not impressive. Nebraska, Maryland, Iowa.
But I think like Nebraska. Sorry, I'm so sorry, Lucy. Like
Nebraska's fine.
you know what I mean?
Yeah,
they beat Michigan, but so did UConn. I think the middle tier teams are stronger, but like
see, like in the tournament and like
the Big Ten is. I mean,
we'll see.
They didn't look good with.
You were saying Duke was gonna make a run, and they beat Duke.
I think UCLA is good.
They beat Duke 89-50.
I definitely think UCLA is good. I definitely think we're going to see them in the Final Four and in the championship. I'm taking them to the championship.
Yeah.
I'm just saying that like
UCLA, UConn.
Oh,
yeah.
I'm saying that if they play UConn, it's
PreWraps, yeah.
But I just don't. I don't know. Like I think I'm just confused about like like Minnesota for example. I don't think I understand like. I don't know what have they done that a team in the ACC hasn't done. I just think that the top 25. I have conference bias. I have conference bias. I don't think I'm seeing. Maybe I'm just not. I don't know. I don't think that the Big Ten is bad. I'm just like, I think UCLA is like amazing, and I'm not able to tell how good the Big Ten is in relation to all the other conferences because no one's. Because there's like a benchmark and there's such a crazy gap.
Yeah, that's fair.
Anyway, sorry, that's not important right now. What is important is that they could get the number 1 seed. UCLA could get the number 1 seed over UConn, but they're in talks. And then the Big 12, West Virginia. I believed in you from the start, even though I didn't say that you would. I didn't say you would win the conference championship, but I have been talking about you. So
TCU, they fell.
I know.
Yeah, I was like, what? I know. That was one I was like felt pretty confident about too.
Yeah.
So
Really?
I was watching, I was like,
I know.
Olivia
Miles is just so good. That's what we were saying last
She was carrying.
pod, and I was just like, what? Like I was more confident in that than like Duke, ACC.
Really?
Yeah, like I thought
I thought
Louisville or UNC could have.
It felt like more of a toss-up.
But shout out West Virginia, and they had that. They also went social media viral because they're on the bench eating lemons, which apparently they do in the locker room usually before.
Is that
it
like?
gives them like a little shock.
Oh yeah, it's like smelling salts, but like.
I guess.
Jordan Harrison said that in the.
MOP
Interesting.
of the tournament said that it gets their brains like refreshed and focused. Which like I don't know the science behind that, but like I guess
like a citrus.
I guess, but I guess it worked.
Yeah.
They've been doing it apparently for the last 2 years.
Maybe we should.
Maybe
we should start eating lemons before the pod.
We're like
to zing.
I love that.
Maybe. So yeah.
All right.
That's and then Selection Sunday coming up.
Yeah.
So
I feel like all I know is that, like, all I know is that the like Texas, South Carolina, like the Texas winning the SEC championship secured them a number 1 seed.
Yep.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So that's gonna be crazy. That puts South Carolina in like a little bit more of a difficult situation,
Right.
but
they gotta fly to Sacramento.
yeah.
Mhm.
For regional. Yeah.
It's a big time difference.
It is a big time difference.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Far from home.
Yeah.
It's really far
That's
from home.
big. Yeah,
Which makes, and this is something that people talk about with the SEC tournament all the time, is that they play in Greenville, South Carolina, so they're basically playing at home.
They do, which they still lost.
I know.
Now they gotta fly. And
Now they gotta
Texas
fly.
Go to Fort Worth.
That's actually huge.
Yeah, they're just like.
I didn't even realize that. That's insane.
They can play
Hello?
over.
Yeah, just like let's just walk, guys. Okay, like who could go for a walk right now?
Oh God.
But yeah, it's super close. So yeah, I mean, them getting the number 1 seed, especially I was doubting them. I just don't know why.
Really?
I don't even know why.
Well,
I
they
just think
didn't
they're gonna
end.
win this tournament.
They didn't end the season as strong as they had started it,
Wait,
but
Texas?
yeah.
Yeah.
So I think that
So shout out to them.
shout out to them. They really put the gears on, and I'm excited to see them in the tournament. So
We'll see. I still don't think.
This is
They're gonna
all
be in the
like, it's so
finals.
funny
Right.
that we just get to like play pretend for like 30 minutes and like UConn is just gonna win.
I know everything for except for one thing is for sure.
Yeah.
Wait, what if they don't win?
Who are they gonna lose?
I don't know because it's like
Literally
they can't even
UCLA.
have like they don't really have like fluke weird games. Like maybe they'll have
Michigan,
quarter.
that was their
weird.
one.
And then they lost
That
in
was their
one.
one
That was
game.
so close.
It was
so
very
fun,
close.
and
That was
they
like
never had
prime.
that.
That was prime Michigan. That was in
That's
their
why I was
high
like,
point.
Wow, I was like, wow, look at them.
Michigan.
Yeah, look at them go.
I
And
know.
then UConn just like locked, and they were like, oh my god.
I know. It was close.
Yeah.
It was close. So I guess we'll see.
And yeah, and then it was never close again.
I know.
The rest of the season.
Literally.
I know.
Yeah. So yeah, I guess I can't.
Oh, I'm
predict.
so
It's gonna
excited.
be good.
Yay.
We'll be on Zoom next week. I know you'll
Sorry,
miss
guys.
our elaborate stuff.
I know.
Yeah.
We've really locked in with this setup. So.
Little by little, we get more legit.
Mhm.
So
Yeah. So we'll be on Zoom next week, but
well, we'll see you there.
we'll see you there, and we'll have a lot to talk
Yes,
about. We'll have a ton to talk about.
We'll see CBA.
CBA,
Yeah,
maybe.
We'll definitely have seed predictions. Will we have CBA?
Don't know. We'll see.
We'll see.
Stay
Time will
tuned.
tell.
All right.
All right. Peace. Bye.